Good day, traders. This is Rich with some Tradestation action for October 5th, 2020, Monday. We're getting into what happened to me this morning with Tradestation and my first trade of the day, which in many cases can always be a little difficult because the morning flush of data can get very interesting. However, today on Boeing, I felt like I got manipulated a little bit and something wasn't working right. And now I'm in a situation where I am talking with them about what happened this morning. I've had 2 phone conversations. I've sent an email, 2 emails, and I'm looking for some kind of resolution to what happened this morning. I'm going to share with you a video of the actual trade that I took and how things played out. And I will kind of talk to you over the video so you can see what's happening. I'll show you the setup first. I'll show you what was happening. And, I've been doing really well with Tradestation for the most part. They gave me my money back on a Tesla trade a couple weeks ago. That was definitely their fault. And now I'm in a situation where it's definitely their fault again. If I'm making a trade and I get in it and I get out of it and I failed on it, that's my fault. This was not my fault. And it's pretty important that we talk to them about this, and they're not the best customer service out there. I really like the platform. I just shared a video on Saturday about it, and I want to continue to use Tradestation. But if I'm running into these, I know every broker's got their situations. I know there's problems everywhere. Being on the retail side is tough, but if you have things go against you because it's not on you, that makes it way more difficult. Day trading is super hard. And who needs this type of crap when you're trying to make money trading? I've been doing pretty well lately, and I'm trying to keep that going. I'm handling my risk, but there was no risk management involved here. I just got completely screwed. And I just want to share that with you, or I'm going to share it with you, and I want you to share it with others. And eventually maybe Tradestation will, do a little better on their support side. And, we're not talking about a ton of money here, but if you were trading a ton of money on this trade, and you got screwed, and if you were trading like 2,000 shares or something like that, you would be pretty pissed off right now. I was able to, it pretty much ruined my morning, and it was really hard for me to focus the rest of the day. After the next trade, I kind of just veered away from trading and kind of focused on some other stuff because I was just annoyed. Anytime you're in a situation where you're annoyed, little things will take you off, and it just wasn't worth I ended up losing a little bit of money at the end of the day, but I actually had a great day. Had a great trade on that NNOX. Make sure you watch that video from earlier. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to go over this Boeing trade and show you what happened, and let's try to help each other avoid this from happening again. So here's the entry. Here's 1-minute candles on Boeing. Markets open up. I see the price action close here, right, on the first minute. It opens the second minute at this particular candle, which is at 169.95. Does not go through the 170. I saw it pull back down to 169, whatever. It's the low is 169.57, but I saw it pull back, and that's where I said, hey, I'm going in this trade at 170. So I set up my limit ready at 170 to press the buy button, and that kind of sets you up for where we're going to go with this trade. I'm looking for the 170 break, and notice what happens. 170 breaks, and where does it go? The high of 170.64. Okay, so good trade, right? Everything looks great on charts after the fact. But let's get to the video, and I will break down what happened. It's going to come right at the beginning of where I press the buy button, so be ready. Okay, so here's a look at what I was looking at. I kind of cut off the beginning a little bit more. You can see down here at the bottom it says connected live, connected to trade server. I'm not really focused on this. I always look at it in the morning to make sure I'm connected to the live trade server. That's key. That means whatever you send is going to go. So I had already gone to Boeing. Price action went down to 169.65. You can see here there's prints that's down here at 77, coming up to 90. Bid and ask is 169.80, 98.90, 169.98. With some good sellers at 170. You can see this high on the histogram, okay? The high is not broken 170, but I liked 170. It got to 169.98, okay? So Here, right when I start the video, I'm going to press the buy button. You can see my cursor on here. We'll just stop it right after that. Okay, so I pressed. All right, so if you notice, I pressed the buy, and down here it says sending. Buy 300 at 170.01. I usually set it for 170.00. I don't know why I had the 01 today, but I must have just moved over to this screen real quick. The time day of this was around, I believe, 9:32. Okay, so I got jumped, right? I got jumped. There's no way I got filled on that trade. If I hit the buy there, price is already at 170.13. There's no way I should have been filled. No way. At any jump trade, I shouldn't have been filled. It should have just been like opened. Okay, what do you notice? Right here. Right here. Nothing. No cancel. No cancel. No reverse or close. This lights up every time you enter a trade, no matter what. You either get a cancel all or reverse and close. Meanwhile, price action's moving up to 170.60. Printed 170.64 right here. Look at the prints here. Okay, so now I switched over. I'm like, okay, maybe I misclicked. Maybe I hit the buy with a slip mouse, right? So I kind of slipped over it, and it didn't actually press the buy button. How many seconds later were we into this video? About 20 seconds later. Still sending. Still sending. Okay. Okay, so now we're on NNOX. I'm watching this through the 40 break. That's the trade of the day, if you watched the video before. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, all right. Not going to worry about, I wasn't even thinking about Boeing anymore. Boeing was out of my mind. I'm like, oh shit, I missed that trade. No big deal. That happens. So we're waiting. Look, 40 seconds in, still says sent. Okay, now it says sent. Still says sent. Nothing more than that. So I'm looking at this GRNQ, right? So no big deal there either. I'm not really focused on anything here other than new trade setups. Boeing's kind of out of my mind for a second, but then I'm hearing in the background, my buddy says, anyone else having Tradestation issues? I'm like, I have the sound turned off because there's a couple of things that go on that I don't really want it to be heard, but I'm just focused on the trading right now. I'm not worried about Boeing. Then he's talking about Tradestation. I'm like, so I'm like, oh boy, let me just checking out Tesla. Okay, then here I go to the Beyond and I go check out. Let's go back a second. I go check out Boeing, right? Look what's sitting here. Look what's sitting there. Right there. 300 shares in the gray. When it's in the gray, that means it's sent, right? Now it says received. It just turned to received. Look, it went for sent, still sent. This is a minute and 19 seconds later. Now it went sent, it should be received right away. And I'll show you that in a second after this little segment here. So all of a sudden I'm looking at it goes to received. So I hit play and it's now received. Look at the prices. 169.65, 169.73. And my limit is 170.01. Look at the prints. 169.72, 169.65, etc., etc. All of a sudden, guess what happens? Oh, you're filled at 170. This is 170.05 because I have it in 5 cent increments. So look what happens when you're actually filled. You have the cancel all, you have the reverse, you have the close. These things all lighten up. So now I bought 300 down here, 300 at 170.01, and I'm like, okay, what do I do at this point? I'm down. I was going to give it some room because I'm like, okay, I like it back through 170 still, but I already made the move through 170. These are 5-minute candles. I already made the move. So I continued to watch it. It's moving in 5 second increments, and I'm giving it $100 at this point. I wasn't looking at the P&L. I was looking at the price action, like going like below, breaking that 60 right there, like 50, 60 area, 55. I think was my where I decided just to bail if it kept below that. I thought it was going to make a move back up, so I stayed in it for a second, and then once it broke right there, 62, I bailed. And I'm like, okay, forget it. And then it just dropped off the face of the earth. Unfortunately, I saw that and got out. But I think you get the point here that there was really nothing I could do. I didn't know I was even going to get in that trade. That was real unfortunate, So if I look at this trade, we're back at Bowen. So if I type in 168, we'll go way below so I don't get filled here. But I have the D plus on so I can trade after hours, right? So I can hit buy. Watch what happens. Cancel all shows up. Received 100, 168. I can hit cancel. Boom, you're out. Buy. That's over. No more trade potential. Okay? So now you get what I'm seeing. That's what should have happened. I should have been skipped. And this has happened to me hundreds of times where I get jumped on the trade and I can cancel the trade. This time, I had no idea what was going on. And it wasn't my fault. Yeah, the next trade I took on Bowen was a mistake. I meant to take Beyond. That has nothing to do with it. I was focused on the Tradestation trade, trading Boeing at that particular time, hoping to get filled. And I understand I get jumped once in a while, or quite often, but I should not have been in this trade at all. It should have just, and then now that I was filled, I'm trying to speak with Tradestation to get my money back on it because it was not my fault. They didn't think, oh, you got your fill. It came down and hit your bid. Well, it wasn't a bid. It was an offer. I was hitting the offer. So it's one of those things where they need to figure themselves out and, stick up for their customers, because this video, I'm hoping, will shed some light, and maybe if you guys got caught in that. And I'm not trying to knock on them totally, because I've had some really good success with them. So it's not like I want to hurt them or anything. I just want to share what's happening and let you know that this does happen. And if it's happening to you, let me know. Share your, with a picture or some kind of comment, and let me know what you might have found. If you've had issues where fills aren't happening. I know the morning's tough. They actually use that excuse. Well, it's Monday morning and there's a lot of data and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to be a high-speed trading platform. I sent mine in. If it doesn't get filled, it doesn't get filled. But don't tell me it gets filled when I'm like looking at it and it's like 40 cents below. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's just not fair. So, that's all I'm going to say about that. I wanted to share that video with you. Hopefully you caught some of it, and you can rewind or whatnot and see what I actually saw. And fortunately, it wasn't in heavier. If you were in heavier on that, yeah, I mean, I've seen Boeing drop a point in a second. It wasn't like a huge drop, but it's also not about the money. It's about the principle of it all and, making things right. So hopefully Tradestation comes through. I don't know. I've sent 2 calls and an email, and I might have to call again tomorrow to kind of say, hey, you get my email? But we'll see how that works out. So this is Rich with some Tradestation action, and I'll be back with a vengeance tomorrow, hopefully. Keep up the good trading, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Have a good one.